You are now streaming worldwide on RadioOnFire.com and the Radio on Fire app.
Your man Diamond K in here. As I said, so much going on with the announcement of charges earlier on the Atlanta cops. The cop in particular that killed an unarmed man in the Wendy's parking lot in Atlanta. So much about that, so many differing views about that. People think this, people think that. I, for one, am surprised to see charges. I'm pleasantly surprised because, we know the history of charges as it relates to officers. And as I said, the officer who shot and killed Rayshard Brooks, charged with felony murder, among other things, 11 charges in all. We're going to get to that. The Wendy's, that is done. That is a wrap. Prosecutors bringing murder charges against the white cop who killed Rayshard Brooks, trying to turn his life around. Now, I do want to say this, that Mr. Brooks definitely played a part in things that happened. He should not have lost his life, though. He should not have lost his life. The press conference today was very enlightening. We got a lot of information that we did not previously have, and we definitely got some insight as to how these charges came about. You've seen the multiple camera angles, Mr. Brooks posed no threat when he was gunned down. We found out today that the officer kicked him. Jared Rolla kicked this man after he put several bullets in his body. I have seen people online talk about the officer being charged, travesty of justice. Like, how could they? They can't believe that charges were brought against the officers, because they are used to a society where the officers can just do what they want to do. No accountability. The moment that there's accountability, oh my God, the officers are crime foul. Officers all across the country and cop supporters all across the country, the ones who support and justify and excuse the killing of unarmed black people. There's always the same group of people defending every action of a cop that has killed an unarmed black person. Everyone, every time, same people. Same old people with the cop is the victim defense. So Rayshard Brooks gunned down and kicked, and the other officer stepped on his body. I'm sure that after these slugs were placed in his body, he wanted to turn over. He's in his last moments of life trying to turn over, and Officer Brosnan admits to standing on Brooks' shoulder as he struggled for his life. These are the actions of an officer that you want to defend? Brooks was holding a stun gun that he had snatched away from one of the officers, but was 18 feet 3 inches away when he was shot. Well, too far away from the officers to pose any threat. With the stun gun, it had already been fired twice. Stun gun can only be fired twice, right? So the district attorney, Paul Howard, who is a relative of NBA player Dwight Howard. Random information. But he announced the charges 5 days after the killing outside of the Wendy's in a an ordeal that has rocked the city of Atlanta. Felony murder charges carries a life in prison without parole or the death penalty. But I don't want people to get too excited because we've seen this before in Baltimore. We've seen this. Mr. Brooks never presented himself as a threat. According to District Attorney Paul Howard, the second officer, as I said, with Rolla, Devin Brosnan, stood on the wounded Brooks' shoulder as he struggled for his life. This information, difficult for everyone. Family, difficult for people hearing that did not know. Of course, people that support the cops and feel that they can do no wrong. Oh, they said me that's just part of the job. It's what it is. It's a day in the park. It's just what cops are supposed to do, right? Yeah. Now, Roloff was fired after the shooting, and Brosnan placed on leave. His situation murky. District attorney said that he was going to be there speaking, and he was going to testify. And of course, the attorney said, "Oh no, he's not going to testify. He's pleading not guilty. You know, his life is probably in danger. Maybe somebody going to stand on his shoulder, right? Put some bullets in his back, so he's a little fearful." But the news comes out as Republicans on Capitol Hill unveiled a package of police reform measures and the movement to get rid of the Confederate monuments and other racially offensive symbols. So many things all coming together. The shooting sparked new demonstrations. Things were already complicated. Things were already on a bubble. New demonstrations in Georgia's capital against police brutality after the occasionally turbulent protest in response to the murder of George Floyd. Things were simmering down, and then this murder happens, and it's right back up. Atlanta is very tense once again, very tense in the city, and could be in your city. Things tense. Police body camera video showing Brooks and the officers having a very calm, very respectful conversation for more than 40 minutes. And then things turned deadly. Brooks wrestled with the officers, snatching one of their stun guns and pointing it at one of them as he ran through the parking lot. He should not have done that. He should not have done that. That's going to be the point that many supporters of the officers and their actions, they're going to point to that and say, oh, that's the point. He exhibited deadly force. Coincidentally, in another incident in Atlanta, during these protests, officers tased some students. And they said, oh, no. The taser's not a deadly weapon. You know, slow down. The taser's not a deadly weapon. But now, when a citizen is holding a taser, oh, it's a deadly weapon. He could have killed the whole city with this. He could have killed everybody with this taser that can't be fired anymore because it's already been fired twice. Now it's a deadly weapon. If the officers point it and fire it at citizens, it's not a deadly weapon, but somebody else has it far away. It's a deadly weapon. Confusing, right? They're lying. they're lying. But of course, the autopsy finds that Brooks shot twice in the back. And the first thing that really stood out to me when the gunshots rang out when I saw the initial video was, this is a parking lot. There's a bunch of cars out here, right? There's a bunch of cars out here. So these officers, ill-trained, not of the temperament of some people that need to be making quick and deadly decisions, potentially deadly, firing in a crowded area. Bullets hitting in out-of-town vehicles from Tennessee. They're involved in this. I'm sure that, you know, they're wrong as well, right? They did something wrong too, right? How dare you be in Atlanta? You should have been in Tennessee. But police, defendants, supporters, going to make excuses for that too. Collateral damage. You know, why is he at Wendy's? Should have been at Burger King. You know, they're going to make up excuses. But Wednesday's decision in Atlanta comes as the country is experiencing a dramatic shift. I'm here for it. Policing and race are in the forefront of the conversation. Some people, delusional people, usually on the far right, are saying that, what? Racism? Racism, you say? Where, here? In America? No. They don't know what we're talking about, right? Every excuse for it. All people want is things to be handled the same across the board. That's all. No, it's not really complicated. Treat everybody the same. Easy, right? It's in the documents, right? We the people, in order to make a more perfect union, that whole thing, right? Right? Or the Declaration, right? When in the course of human events, right? Right? Anyway, it is ironic that the Senate Republicans in DC announced this GOP police reform package, right? Most ambitious one in years. They want to include an enhanced use of force database, restrictions on chokeholds, and new, commissions to study law enforcement and race. I mean, when they say they want to study, when people act like, what, they didn't know, I didn't even understand that it was racism. Like, when they act like that, it's just like, I mean, you're insulting people's intelligence. Clearly. This 106-page bill is not what the Democrats proposed, but it does bring home the fact that the national debate has really changed since the murder of George Floyd. I say murder because that's what it was in the case of George Floyd, clearly. But another thing that has me, just baffled is the fact that finally it's taken all of these years before big corporations have really taken notice to the seriousness of the people's concerns as it relates to Americans, Black Americans, being killed by the police. And in the wake of all this, you have companies, Quaker Oats, saying that they're going to get rid of Aunt Jemima, the brand, the whole brand. You've seen the racist brand that Quaker Oats has. Character based clearly on a racial stereotype. Very disrespectful. The image on the packages was changed in more recent years to make her look like a modern housewife. She was for most of her existence a kerchief wearing figure, the mammy plantation style stereotype. The owner of Uncle Ben's brand rice also said that they want to evolve in response to the stereotyping and the disrespect to Black people. So, we have this, and I think that this is progress. This is good. Las Vegas removed its statue of Reb mascot outside of its alumni center. Houston took down a Confederate soldier in a downtown park. Vandals sprayed "White Lives Matter" on a statue of African-American tennis legend Arthur Ashe, which is in Richmond, Virginia. And New York's governor signed an executive order recognizing Juneteenth as a paid holiday for state employees to commemorate the emancipation of slaves in this country. It has been a state holiday in Texas since 1980, and Virginia's governor is also proposing to make it a state holiday. We have come far, but we have a lot of ground left to cover. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. So, the officer who killed Rayshard Brooks, as I said, charged with murder. And online, I have seen the conversation of people defending. What we're hearing is officers walking away in protest. 20 to 30, they're saying, in Atlanta. These reports have not been confirmed, but many people in the police movement supporting these actions and thinking that it's a good idea. And they're happy. That's what they need to walk out. And if you, or as a police officer, if the fact that one of your own is being charged for wrongdoing and your action is to quit because he's potentially being held accountable, then by all means quit. Good, go, bye, good riddance, not needed. You can be replaced with someone who understands accountability and is going to truly uphold, protect, and serve. The cops who are having a temper tantrum because one of their own is going to be held accountable and put on trial, go get another job. But understand this: you're going to be held accountable at another job as well. So if you just like to quit when you're forced to be held accountable, then be prepared to quit again and quit again and quit again. I think that the officer who stood on the shoulder of Mr. Brooks is going to testify. He's saying right now that he's not, but he's going to. He's just telling y'all cop supporters that, so y'all don't, run up on them in traffic or something. Is the code of silence, the blue code of silence, is the cops' shield of armor? Is it weakening? Is it loosening up? Are there some chinks in the armor? I say yes, but that's fine. They always say that good cops, hates the bad cop more than anybody else. Well, how come we never hear these so-called good cops ever talking about bad cops? You mean no bad cops exist? Because I never hear any cops speak negatively about another police officer. How come, there's never one that does anything wrong? Never? The era that we're in right now is truly transformational, because you're going to start to see accountability. And when there's accountability, you're going to start to see people turning, right? You're going to start to see something that police officers really fear: snitches within their own ranks. The main thing that they try to get citizens to do to each other, that's going to start to happen to them. And it should. And it should. Your man Don McKay, of course, I will be back here tomorrow, 12 noon, radioonfire.com, youtube.com/DJ Diamond K. Wherever you get podcasts, search The Diamond K Show. 12 noon tomorrow, 7 p.m. You know the routine. Hit me up on social media. I'd love to talk to you about this and many other things. See you guys tomorrow.